Hi everyone, my name's Josiah Mayfield. I'm with WSOU, and I'm here with Brent Rambler of August Burns Red. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Nice to see you this afternoon. Well, let's just jump right into it. First
Cool.
and foremost, it is your band's 20th anniversary. You've been there since the start. How would you
Right.
describe August Burns Red's progression?
I mean, it kind of went from a bunch of people who didn't really know what they were doing to people who now do. Um, we, when the band started, I'd only been playing guitar for like a year and a half, maybe. Same with our other guitar player, JB. Matt was definitely the most experienced person in our band at drums. And so we just, like I said, kind of morphed into a band that was just kind of trying to figure things out, even with playing our own instruments, to like a band that's where we are now, where we feel proficient and can write songs and all kinds of stuff.
Well, throughout that progression, obviously, 20 years, different eras of your life, of your band members' life, and of your music. As great as the current present is, do you think that there's any other August Burns Red era that you kind of want to go back to and relive again?
It was fun doing all of like the van touring and things like that, but like, would I want to do it again? I don't think so. I mean, there's things you miss about touring when you're on a bus, that like, the actually getting to see stuff as you drive, like that's just completely gone, and stopping at random places just for fun, like you don't get to do that anymore. So I kind of miss that aspect of it, but I want to go back and do it. No, I mean, as a 38-year-old person trying to, you know, deal with van life, and I don't think I could do it, but that I do miss certain aspects.
Oh, that's fair. But you brought up tour. You guys are on tour right now. You're literally in
Yep.
a hotel.
Yes.
Um, I mean, it's still a little close, or it's been a little close to the start. Do you have any interesting tour stories that have already happened?
There's stuff that happens like all the time. Like our lighting console keeps freezing in like weird spots in the set. Like all of a sudden the lights just stop blinking and then they just come back on. And that's kind of interesting. But like, nothing too crazy so far. All of the bands on the tour are really experienced, so everyone knows what they're doing, and it's just flowing really smoothly. So nothing crazy yet. No.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I mean, sometimes not crazy is good.
Right. It's like I said, being 38 years old and just I like to just be able to cruise control. I don't want to deal with crazy.
Hmm. I remember when I was given the preview of Death Below, there was a description on it saying that this one is less this album is less concise than the other ones, so it's a bit more chaotic. And because of that, I wanted to ask, what separates Death Below songs from your previous releases outside of the order they were written in, of course?
Right. I mean, the album is darker. I think it's our most dense record to date. There's just so much to digest in this record. We have multiple songs over 7 minutes long, and there's just like it's a lot to go through. It is not a first sit kind of album where you just like get everything at once, and there's a lot to go through. It's definitely, like I said, very dense and can be dark at times, and it's definitely an interesting record and stands out amongst all of our records, I think, because of that.
Is there any song in particular that you're really proud of or you want fans to hear? Like you're the rhythm guitarist, but is there any
Right.
song where it's you want to be known as I'm Brent Rambler and I played this guitar in this song?
I think that uh I mean, I love the song Tightrope, but I wrote the words to that song.
Oh, really?
I love that. Yeah, I love that song. I write a lot of our lyrics. And Dustin wrote that song musically, but that's probably my favorite song on the record. It just has like kind of everything, I think. And it's a cool track. The Jason Richardson solo on it's awesome. It's probably my favorite on the record.
Can you talk a little bit more about like the lyric process?
Sure. I mean, for me, I write lyrics that I'm just like in the moment I'll get an idea or something like that, and then I need to like sit down and just write it all down, and then I just kind of go from there. So that's kind of how I roll. But yeah, that's just a good song. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that you write a lot of lyrics. 'Cause I had a question, like
Okay,
based
great.
on you've written for uh most, if not all, of August Burns Red's like albums, even previous years. So
Right.
you would know really well what song or album should new fans start with. Like if I was to recommend August Burns Red, I'd say listen to this one first.
My favorite record is Rescue and Restore. I like that one a lot. I think it's just a really good emotional record. It's got a lot of great tracks on it. It's got some catchy stuff. It's got some deep stuff. It's the lyrics have a lot of emotion behind them, and it's just a good record.
Oh, it's a good choice. It's about in the because that was 2013, so that was like the
Yeah.
middle.
Right. Right. Yeah. It is the middle.
Okay, so then if you were to take that 2013 record, which you say is kind of the encapsulation of, we're not, you didn't say it was the encapsulation of
Right.
ABR, but you understand what I mean, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So how would you describe that to someone who doesn't know ABR at all?
That record.
Well, August Burns Red as a group, because if you
Okay.
said new fans should listen to it, I figured it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would just say if you like metal music that's a bit technical, but then also has some melody, this is a great record for you to start with. I mean, I think that's kind of like the epitome of August Burns Red. Like we've always been a technically challenging band, but we've always tried to have some sort of melody in our song to catch a listener who might not be attuned to listen to that kind of music, I guess.
Okay, okay. So back to this newer album, as great as Rescue and Restore is. Uh, so before this release, you had already released three songs as singles: Ancestry, Backfire, and Reckoning.
Yeah.
Why were those three singles and not Tightrope, even though you said that one was your favorite?
Well, so Ancestry just made sense because it had the big Jesse Lee feature on it. And nowadays playlisting on streaming networks is so big and such a big deal. But that's how you gain new listeners at this point. That we knew if we released that single first, it would get us onto playlisting that we wouldn't normally get on. It would get us on like more Kill Switch Engage style playlists. So that was an obvious one for us right there. And then Backfire is just like the quintessential like August Burns Red song that's fast, heavy, and technical. And we knew that would appease all of our fans. And then Reckoning was a weird one. We went back and forth a lot, deciding on that track. I think it's a band favorite on the record, but we were really hesitant because it's the last song on the record and we don't like giving that away. But we just really thought it's an awesome song. And like I said, nowadays with how streaming is set up, like who knows how many people are going to actually even listen to the record in order to understand that it's the last song or to
Mm.
even like get there. So we just kind of said, screw it, we love this song, we're going to put it out. It's interesting, it's different, the fact that it's almost 8 minutes long and it has like no repeating parts pretty much. Like it's just, the song is just like a journey, and that we think it was really cool. And yeah, we'd like Spencer's feature a lot. It just, we know, checked all the boxes for us as far as what we love. And we knew it would be a challenging listen to people. Like I think it's funny, like I've watched a couple of those like first reaction videos on YouTube, and the people are just like, I don't know what to say. And it's like, yeah, this isn't a first reaction song. You need to listen to this song like 10 times before you can get it all. But yeah.
You said you were debating about Reckoning. Yeah,
Yeah.
Reckoning was the one we was debating about. Can
Yeah.
I ask what the other options were? Like which other song almost became a single?
Uh Tightrope was a Tightrope was definitely up there. And then the song The Cleansing was up there. We go back and forth. I mean, it's hard to pick singles. You never know what people are going to latch onto. You just never know. So it made the most sense for us to pick the songs that had guests or some of them, and then leave some other guest ones to the side. When you pick a song that has a guest. Like, Spencer made the post with us as well. So did Jesse. So it's just a little bit more exposure. So in the end, that's why we ended up going with it. But yeah, I mean, Tightrope was almost a single. But yeah, we just in the end decided to go this route.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, you already said you said Tightrope was your favorite. I had to
Right.
rephrase this question that I already had, but I like it.
Okay.
So, your favorite song on Death Below is Tightrope. Can you like, if you were to describe it, how would you like describe Tightrope to where someone is going to be able to recognize it based on your description?
Okay. It's just I think it is a pretty like standard August Burns Red track. I mean, but I think it stands out with it has an absolutely massive ending. And then there is a blistering guitar solo from Jason Richardson in the middle. It's pretty identifiable in that aspect.
It's been a few years since the songs on Death Below were started and written. You said that you have started them around like early pandemic times. So
Yep.
it's you've been kind of sitting on these songs for like 2, 3, 4 years, depending on, how
Yeah.
the order. Have any of the songs like sort of not necessarily changed meaning, but like maybe changed meaning actually? Has any
Yeah.
like song like felt different now that it's like 4 years later?
Sure. There's a song called Fool's Gold in the Bear Trap that just was going to be like an interlude kind of thing. That wasn't gonna, it was just, it's short, uh, and it's pretty much just like a straight up black metal track. And we just kind of morphed it into a song. And now, like, when I hear it, I'm like, oh, this is like full, complete song. Whereas it wasn't intended that way. It was going to be a bridge between two songs. And so, yeah, that one definitely has turned into what I think is one of the cooler moments on the record, and is just something that sounds really different for us, and is just a great track overall.
So would you say, with how you wrote Death Below, where you were talking earlier about listening to the songs in order about how they connected, and I noticed that there were some
Yeah.
songs where their endings and beginnings were meant to transition seamlessly into each other.
Right. Right.
Was there any particular reason that you guys decided to do that this time?
Yeah, I mean, the initial idea for this was an EP that was going to be a 4 or 5 song EP where all the songs would flow together, and lyrically it would be the same. And then we just ended up having so much material that we decided to make it all into a full length. But the idea was still there to have it all kind of flow together in a way that worked. So that's why you do have like a straight up interlude track, because that was originally going to be just part of another song. But then we like, ended up making its own little thing, and it's just the bridge between two songs. So yeah, I mean, it was a conscious effort because in the days of streaming, no one's really thinking about that anymore. Like how to make a record that just really flows well together. Everyone just drops a 2 minute single and hopes that people play it millions of times because it's only 2 minutes long. So like it was just a conscious effort to like make it a album, that you listen to from start to finish, not songs that you pick and choose from.
With that, you've been talking a lot about the sort of streaming, like people's like streaming behaviors,
Yeah,
and you said so you'd say like recently that has kind of influenced your writing outside of, lyrical content.
right. I mean, I don't know that it's influenced the writing. It like streaming is such a weird thing. I mean, it could be a good thing in that the fact that you can gain new fans easily, but I don't even know if you're gaining fans. I think you're just maybe gaining in the moment listeners. And what really matters is that you keep those people and they choose to follow your band. And so I think that's what we've been lucky about, is that it seems like people who like our band really like the band as a whole. They aren't picking and choosing songs. And I think like in the days of streaming now, we just have people who are writing music just to get that one big stream, and then not paying attention to an album. You're just releasing a song every couple of months. Like that's literally like a formula that we've talked to other bands about, and it's a formula you can do, and that's totally fine if that's how you want to go. But I think with our fans being older, I think they are excited about the aspect of having an album from start to finish.
Do you think your age has anything to do with it? I know you have brought it up a lot for
Yeah,
the reason you don't
I
want to do
do.
band touring and stuff.
I mean, our fans are older. You know, you look at the crowd on a 20-year anniversary tour. They're in their 30s. They bring their kids to the meet and greet. Like they're older. They, care about the band from a start to beginning. It's cool to see, and they're definitely an older group of people now. That's 100% for sure.
So do you think your starting in 2003 of like any year, any decade, made a big difference on why August Burns Red is August Burns Red?
Oh, what do you mean?
Um,
Like,
I think also like talking like in 2003, like
right?
Spotify was not,
No,
I don't I don't think it was a thing. Like
no,
so you think like starting in 2003 and getting used to like record CD style production
yeah,
like changed August Burns Red or it made it what it is, but
yeah,
it would have been different in another decade.
yeah. I think so. I think it allowed us to build a kind of like a I don't want to say normal, but like a more like classic kind of fan base, I guess. Fans who buy records and buy CDs because at that time you had to buy records and buy CDs. Or you could maybe download on Napster, but that was difficult. It, it kind of we started our band, I guess, at the right time. It was kind of like the bridge between still buying a lot of physical product and then moving to maybe a more digital medium. Um, so, like I said, we got all those listeners who cared about having a physical product, cared about music in that aspect, but then like obviously are forced into digital media. So like we still see a lot of vinyl sales, we still see a lot of CD sales for our music, and I don't know if a lot of fans enjoy that nowadays. I think obviously vinyl has blown up a lot, but I think it's within like bands that have been around for a while. That's who's selling a ton of vinyl. You're not seeing like these brand new bands selling vinyl to their brand new fans.
Well, we're about coming to the end of your time. I know that you have
Cool.
other interviews to do. Do you have
Yeah.
any one last thing that you would like to say?
I just want people to kind of listen to Death Below from start to finish. I know that like I think some people think that the singles placement and picks have been weird, but it's just like it wouldn't have mattered what singles we picked for this record. I think people would have said that because it's not meant to be a single listening thing. It's meant to be an experience from start to finish. And so I just hope that when it comes out, people listen to it that way.
All right. Thank you so much for spending time with
Yep,
me this afternoon.
absolutely. Thank you.